At heart, Mustang is actually, even though it's a war novel, it's a love letter. And it's written in two different directions. It's written backwards to the people that made the story, the people that made our country, the people like my father, John Adams Dwyer, uh, who went to the Pacific Theater. The reason I call him my Captain America, if you've seen that film, this may resonate with you, but my dad volunteered right after high school, right after Pearl Harbor, and yet he had a vision problem, and he got rejected as 4F, both because one of his eyes didn't see well enough and one of his ears didn't hear well enough. But he was determined to do his part. Once, twice, thrice, 4 times, 5 times he went back to try and enlist. And on the 5th time, he switched eyes on the eye test and used his good eye both times, and he got in. And he went to the Pacific. He rose to the rank of sergeant twice. Both times he got busted back to private for fighting for various reasons. He did have a grandfather that was named O'Dwyer and came from Ireland on a boat. But in the midst of that service in the Pacific, a couple of years of which were on a lovely place called New Guinea, he lost the entire head of curly blonde hair that he had when he went to the war. He caught a case of malaria that he suffered from off and on the rest of his life. He was strafed on New Guinea airfields by Japanese Zero fighter planes. He lost several of his good friends. And when he got back and married my mother, she recalled that till the end of his life, he would periodically have horrible nightmares that she would wake him up from, and she would ask what they were about. And of course, she figured out after a while they were about the war. And she wanted him to tell her about it. And he would always say, one day I'll tell you all about it. Well, at age 35, he passed away. And the doctors told her that, as with a lot of guys during that period of time, the stresses and the diseases they got in places like the Pacific and others during World War II contributed to their early demise. So I look back and I offer Mustang as a tribute, not just to the accomplishments, but as you'll read, to the loss and the sacrifice and the suffering that these folks went through. But I also point it forward to people, my little grandson Luke, mighty man of valor, almost 3 going on 4 years of age now. Some of you Facebook friends of mine well know who Luke is. And I offer it to him and the young of America, boys and girls, so that you will know, despite what you hear from a lot of different sources, that imperfect as this country is, and we are, as every nation ever has been, nonetheless, this nation has done things, built things, offered things, and sacrificed things that no other before has. And the people that came before you, many of them, rather than being recipients of some sort of privilege or advantage that was delivered to them, even some of those that did have certain advantages, they offered it up on the altar of their country's freedom. They offered up their futures for people like you that they never knew. They never knew your name. My grandson Luke, my father, your great-grandfather John Adams Dwyer, never knew your name. But you have the life you have and you that you have because he gave up his so that you would have a good one. So I hope you enjoy Mustang. I thank you if you're still listening to this obviously very unpolished, very unrehearsed message from my heart to some of you and others that I care very much about and that I've tried with the best I had to tell their story. Thanks, and God bless you.